Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak. I hope you're excited because I'm extremely excited. Wallahi, I'm extremely excited. For the past few months, we've been praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us see the month of Ramadan. And here we are in the month of Ramadan, okay? Just, right in, we are in the month of Ramadan, okay? So we need to be happy, we need to be excited because this is a rare opportunity which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not grant to every of his slave. That's it, okay? And a part of my own sign of happiness is that throughout this month of Ramadan, okay, that we'll be meeting right here, you'll see me smiling, inshallah. So you're welcome to the month of Ramadan, the month of tranquility, the month of blessing, the month of Al-Qur'an, the month of charity, the month of forgiveness, the month of purification, the month of spiritual upliftment, okay? There are so many ways by which you can describe the month of Ramadan. It's a big month. It's a huge month out of the 12 months in a year, all right, in the Islamic calendar. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a fruitful one for us. Now, that is the reason why we're here. But first, before we go into how we can maximize our Ramadan, let us talk about some of the virtues of the month of Ramadan, because, of course, we need to know the virtue of something, then we can maximize it. Now, Ramadan is the month in which the gates of paradise are opened, okay, from the first day to the last day, and vice versa. The gates of hell are also closed from the first day to the last day. All right. Before that, it's a month in which Shaitan and his, the devil and his armies, they are chained. All right. In the confirmed hadith of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they are changed. Okay, they are changed rather, unless you want to awaken the devil within yourself. That's the only devil that can, that can come at you. But generally speaking, in the month of Ramadan, the devil and his, armies, they are chained, and that's one of the virtues of Ramadan. Another virtue of Ramadan is the multiplicity of good deeds. All right, the multiplicity of good deeds. All right, in which Allah Subhanahu wa Taala will multiply every good deed that we do. Okay, it's also in the month of Ramadan. Part of the virtues of the month of Ramadan is that a caller will rise up and say, "O doer of goods, continue with your good deeds." And the same caller would say, "O doer of evil, desist right now." Okay. So these are some of the virtues of Ramadan that we have to put at the back of our mind. I'm very sure that we are familiar with all of this. It's just a quick reminder. Now, the next thing is, how then can we maximize the month of Ramadan? All right. Now that we have understood some of the virtues of Ramadan, all right. Now, I think the best possible way by which we can maximize our Ramadan and where to learn from in this regard is, of course, through the bearer of the Quran himself, which is who? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then hadith reported by Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. May Allah bless the father and the son. He said that Kana Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ajwadun nas. The Prophet sallam is the most beneficent, like is the most generous of human beings that you have ever seen. وَكَانَ وَأَجْوَدُ مَا يَكُونُ مِنْ Ramadan, and is more generous in the month of Ramadan. حِينَ يَلْقَاهُ جِبْرِيلٌ, each time Jibril comes to him. وَكَانَ جِبْرِيلَ عَلَيْهِ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ, he said, Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam used to come to the Prophet sallam, يَلْقَاهُ فِي كُلِّ لَيْلَةٍ مِنْ Ramadan. He comes to him in the month of Ramadan, in the night of every month of Ramadan, every night of day of Ramadan. فَيُدَارِسُهُ الْقُرْآنِ, and he teaches him the Quran. Okay. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أجود من ريح المرسلة. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم is even more generous than the what? Than the wind. Okay, than the speed of the wind. All right. So that tells you that some of the virtues of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم during the month of Ramadan is that he gives without being asked. He gives consistently without being asked. But let's begin the fiqh of this particular hadith. Right from حين يلقاه جبريل فيدارسه القرآن. All right, so this is one of those things that should occur frequently in the month of Ramadan. What is the meaning of darasa? All right, we all know the particular establishment that we know as madrasa. That's the school, right? Now, what does Jibril alayhi salatu come to do with the Prophet sallallahu فيدارسه القرآن? He comes and teaches the Prophet sallallahu the Quran. Now, when you are talking about dirasa, what happens in Dirasa, because Dirasa means learning, right? Learning, generally speaking. So what do you do when you learn? You read, you write, you explain, you expatiate. So, and this is from where the scholars have taken it that during the month of Ramadan, all right, it is imperative that you learn the Quran very well. Not only that you read the Quran, all right, because Prophet Sallam reads the Quran with Jibril alayhi salam, but yet it teaches the Prophet Sallam the Quran, all right, and explains and amplifies and gives him the tafsir of Al-Quran al-Karim. Now, some of the virtues of that we can, some of the fiqh that we can take from this hadith, we've seen them. First and foremost is that the virtues of the month of Ramadan, all right? The Prophet ﷺ gives charity without being asked, all right? So it is the month of Ramadan that even increases in what? In recitation of Al-Quran al-Karim and charity, because Hina yukufu Jibrilu, okay? The Prophet ﷺ used the word Wakan ajwad ma yakunu fi Ramadan. He used to be more generous in the month of Ramadan. Hina yalqahu Jibril, because Jibril used to come to him for yudarisuhu al-Quran, and he teaches him what? The book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we can take some lessons from this about the virtues of the month of Ramadan, the virtue of giving charity, okay, and lastly, sitting in the gathering of pious people, right? Sitting in the gathering of the pious people, especially where they're learning about the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is why I would quickly say something. If you have a series that you want to listen to in this month of Ramadan and it is not about the Quran, please I think you should have a reconsideration about that particular series that you want to listen to. I'm telling you, if it is not about the Quran, then it is nothing. I'm saying it categorically. It is nothing. All right. So this is how we can maximize the month of Ramadan by listening to Quran and listening to the tafsir of it. If you cannot read it by yourself, listen to the tafsir. Okay, if you can read it, and you're not very vast in it, make sure you listen to the tafsir of Al-Quran al-Karim. Now, what then? We've mentioned so much about the Quran, okay, the virtue of the Quran in the month of Ramadan. Now, what then is the hadaf, the objective of the revelation of the Quran in the month of Ramadan? Okay, within the month of in the month of Ramadan and outside the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. That's it. Allah said, it is in the month of Ramadan that the Quran was revealed. All right. Even though some people might be like, oh wow, in the month of Ramadan, so the whole of the Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan. Yet you say that the Prophet ﷺ lived for 23 years and the Quran was revealed up until his death. And then how can you reconcile this? You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna meet me in the class of what? Usul Tafsir, the Muqaddimah, the fundamentals of Tafsir. We do that after the month of Ramadan, inshallah. You come and lead that in class. But the thing is, Allah said, Shahr Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. It is in the month of Ramadan that the Quran was revealed. Huda lin-nas. That's the first duty of the Quran. That's the first, purpose the Quran has come to serve. Huda lin-nas. It is to guide men. Wa bayyinatin min al-huda. And it is also to explain everything in terms of guidance. Okay? Huda lin-nas, guidance. Wa bayyina, and to explain. Wal furqan, and to separate truth from falsehood, halal from haram, Iman from shirk, kufr and iman, rather. Iman from kufr, right? Sunnah from bid'ah. That's it. The separator of truth and falsehood. That is what the Quran has come to do. And that is why I will repeat it also. If you are listening to any series in this month of Ramadan and it is not about the Quran and the explanation of the Quran, please go and jettison it. Please have a reconsideration. This is the month of what? This is the month of Quran. It is not just that we should recite these verses and we should not implement them. See, the Prophet Sallallahu he used to do what? Fayudadis to hold Quran. Jibril used to come to him and recite the Quran and teach him and give him exegesis of the Quran. All right, so this is the virtue of the month of Ramadan, and the virtue of the Quran being revealed in the month of Ramadan. So for this reason, so that we can maximize this, okay, we've come up with a program, all right, with let's say a Ramadan series that we've tagged as Premium Ramadan Spirit. The Premium Ramadan Spirit, all right, so that we can rejuvenate ourselves, like picking some, not the entire tafsir of the Quran, of course, it's a short period, and we just started this program, so we have just selected some verses of Al Quran Kareem, look at the lessons therefrom, how we can relate that with our Ramadan and our personal lives, and what have you, so that we can have that spiritual upliftment, all right, that we desire. This is the month of what? This is the month of Ramadan, and it's a month of forgiveness. It's a month in which we should maximize it to the best of our ability. So this is just it. This is just an introductory video that I just want to share with you. Like I said, I'll be smiling throughout, the month of Ramadan. Let me give you some smile again. So now, inshallah, I'll be seeing you in the next video. You can just inform your family and friends, and you can just share this video with them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak. See you in the next video, inshallah.
علق الأفراح في جيد الهلال واحتفي بالحب أهلا رمضان.